so happy we have a new cup. Oh, it's a new cup. Somebody bought us a new cup.
You probably don't want to hear this joke. So finally, she says, "Look, this is the third time I've asked for you. What's the problem?" And he says,
We're trying to start with the first thing doing differently, but I'm not sure.
I was going to say, that's a freshen that one up.
Yeah. Well, I'm just changing around with whatever we got.
It's not bad. Huh? What's the new thing to say? Tonight's not bad.
He doesn't have that, so I'll give him some later.
Is that all it is? Half sharp line overheating?
What's it, the 30?
I can probably remember that.
That's 7 years.
If I take a picture of it. Yeah.
45.
What's the zip code? Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
But you were really younger than that.
Is it?
Well, think of it this way: you had it during your
That's what I'm saying.
senior year. A lot of people lost their parents and their children.
I get very greedy when it comes to this.
Huh?
I'm very greedy when it comes to that.
Okay.
Well, no, I was thinking the other day about my dad.
Yeah, we had a 3-person.
Made some little gesture like he did. You know,
Oh, yeah. Oh, a trio. That's true.
yeah,
Go my doctorate degree.
That's not even conscious.
no, but I was aware the other day. I was like, that was good. It's exactly what my father did. And then if he had a piece of meat, it was really good. He'd say, soft as a baby's cushion.
Oh, 3 words. Is it try it?
Oh, well. You, to which the obvious answer is, how would you know? Never eaten a baby's cushion.
All right, I have a problem. Look at this wearing corduroy jacket with the Hawaiian light shirt. Are you, what this tells me is you are prepared for any season.
Yeah, and this is sort of like a tone.
Well, actually, what's happening is he's able to wear the light shirt because he has the heavy jacket.
That's it. This makes it respectable.
So, Rabbi Cohen, I will tell you, he's dressed because he's getting ready for St. Peter's.
St. Peter's?
You didn't see the score of the basketball game yesterday?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
It was the Zets.
It was a Zets. I didn't know about it. I was texting some friends to send them an article, a beautifully written article from Kentucky in Lexington, but it was from CNN. So I sent to them, and they said, yeah, particularly poignant given the score tonight. And I'm like,
no shit.
The score. Yeah, isn't that good? These are always
Yeah, that was.
St. Peter's fan? You are now.
He graduated from Maryland.
I'm rooting for him. Actually, you know me as a women's fan.
That's okay with me. A women's team's better than a men's team.
Yeah, so you and Marty Bush just got into the women's tournament.
We're actually playing in baseball tonight.
What about Texas Tech? I hear that one.
Well, the good team both ways is Baylor in both of them. But we're probably an Elite 8 basketball team this year.
Well, I told my Kentucky friends, don't warn too long. Focus on the women, because the women, they are amazing last 4 days. South Carolina, LSU.
You know, for a rabid UK fan, that's very little.
I'm not a rabid man.
I know, but for a rabid UK fan, that's not much.
No, it doesn't help.
No.
These are my personal.
It's kind of interesting with the two of the great basketball teams, Kentucky and Kansas. One is KU and one is UK. Yeah. And they're both blue.
I told you my thing. There was when I had the choice between Arizona and to go to Arizona or to Kansas City. Coming out of school, I had a transfer assistantship, which one I wanted, and I joked. I said, "Well, whichever one they were both in the championship game, whichever. I think KU."
Although Kansas City has a lot of championship games there.
But they won that year. But I ended up going to Arizona. But anyway, that was my joke. I'm like, well, where are you gonna go? Which place are you gonna choose? I said, whoever's basketball team wins. That's where I'm going. It was right around like that. All right, we're gonna get going. It's 6 o'clock. What?
You were sorely missed. That your replacement did an awesome job, but you were sorely missed.
Last week. Oh, yes. Last Friday. Hi, Phil. I'm doing well. How are you doing? I had a great trip. Great trip.
And then the last piece is a Yigdal.
Yigdal.
It is, yes.
Yeah, let's do Yigdal. Yeah. The tongue twister Yigdal. Yeah, the typical one. The one that we always do. Since it's not a bar mitzvah, there's nobody to really do the Adon Olam with. Usually I'll switch if it's a bar mitzvah kid.
So we'll get. I'm gonna even need one just to look ahead for people asking me questions. So we'll get a bunch. And I'll make sure you have it one. Perfect.
So
No, that's
have an
good. I'm
Ashira
glad,
first.
Phil. You need it. All right. Well, here we are again.
We are back. Long time no see, Rabbi.
Well, I don't have much of a voice from my Purim experience the other
know.
day. Yeah, it's bad again. It's
Yeah.
this allergies mixed with the straining the voice for
Yes.
lots of Megillah reading. So
You need some vocal rest.
I do.
Says
I
this
do.
vocal doctor.
Says the one who has to read Torah all day tomorrow. Again, I say that, yes.
Exactly. Well, after tonight, do not
After-
talk.
Tomorrow, right, don't talk tonight.
Yes.
That's a good excuse. And then after tomorrow afternoon, I can rest again. All right, good idea. So we're going to go forward in our Siddur. Are we doing a new Nigun? We have a new Nigun. Wait a minute.
Grab my Siddur here.
I keep forgetting to grab my list. I only have my list. So let's Nigun it out with a different Nigun than we've done in the last couple of weeks. Something fun.
Hava nashira, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah. 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 Now all of you, Hava nashira, shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah.
Very fun. We turn back to an oldie but a goodie. On page 5, there you'll find Shalom Aleichem, our hymn welcoming in those ministering angels into our midst. Come in peace, those angels of peace. We ask them to bring that Shabbat peace with them as they enter our homes. Page 5 at the bottom.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem li shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Melech Malachi Hamlachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We turn back to page 4. There you'll find the blessing for Hadlakat Nerot, for kindling the lights of Shabbat. The bottom of page 4. We've had them kindled. We'll have to, now that we've changed the clocks, we can light them ourselves once again. But you'll find the lights are lit as we rise and we recite the bracha together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are keeping our masks on still. Yes, Phil? We have not changed our rules. Just to let you know, we need to probably continue to mask. At least we have not.
Actually, it's optional now.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
Okay.
If you're
We haven't
fully
made it
vaccinated.
public yet is the
Not
issue. We have not let the congregation know what our rules are, so, or the rabbi for that matter.
Good to know.
So.
Now we know.
Good. So now you know. All right, page 111, you will find Lachuda. I see people going like this, do we on, off, whatever. So I'll let Phil clarify. He was at our meeting the other night, but as far as I know, that things had not formally changed yet. So we will do what you need to do. Page 11, you'll find Lachune Ranana. We're a small group. I think we won't breathe on each other at the moment. I won't breathe on you if you don't breathe on me.
Yeah, I don't.
Excellent.
I don't like to breathe on people anyways.
Okay, good.
We're good.
Page 11, you'll find the formal beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat as Orit leads us.
Lechun eranena l'Adonai. Lechun eranena l'Adonai. Nariya litzui ishinu nikadma fanav betoda. Lechun eranena l'Adonai. Lechun eranena l'Adonai. Nariya litzui ishinu nikadma fanav betoda. Nariya litzui ishinu
beautiful melody. We turn to page 16. There you'll find the words Or Zarua, the last part of Psalm 97. Or Zarua, light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Beautiful words from the 97th Psalm as we join together.
Or Zarua לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. ולישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. ולישרי לב שמחה. לילה צדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה.
On page 20, by the little arrow, you'll find the words Romamu Adonai Eloheinu, exalt Adonai our God and bow down at God's holy mountain. For Adonai our God is holy. We remember the holiness that we bring into our lives through the celebration of Shabbat and our connection to God. Bottom of page 20 in the Hebrew.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו.
On page 21, you'll find Mizmor LeDavid, our 29th psalm. We have the tradition of rising as we sing this psalm, as we mention God's name several times, and the voice of God. If you remember, if you saw my message today in the email, thinking about listening to the voice of God, how do we hear the whispers of the divine in our experience? Page 21, we rise.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז. איי איי איי, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. כל אדוני על המים אל הכבוד הרים. אדוני על מים רבים. כל אדוני בכוח. איי איי איי, כל אדוני בהדר. כל אדוני שובר ארזים. וישבר אדוני את ארצי הלבנון. וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון. כל אדוני חולל איילות, ויחשוף יערות, ובחלו כולו מרכבות. איי איי איי, אדוני למה בו ישב וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. איי די 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 די, איי די 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 די, איי די 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 די, איי די די די.
You are welcome to be seated. Yesh koach. We turn over to page 23. There you'll find Lecha Dodi, our hymn that welcomes in Shabbat, as our bride, our queen, walking into our midst. We'll do the first two verses on 23 and the last two verses on 25. And when we get to that last verse, I'll signal to you to rise, as we will then turn to the back of the sanctuary if you're here in the sanctuary, or to an entrance if you're at home watching, as we literally and figuratively welcome in Shabbat into our midst as that bride or queen, that regal person walking in. So page 23, the first two verses.
Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Shabor v'zachor b'dibur echad ishmi'anu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad le'shem ultiferet ve'letila. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu ve'lelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha. Mirosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh במחשבה תחילה. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela.
Page 25.
ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי. על יד איש בן פרצי ונסתך ונגילה. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei.
We rise and face the door.
for the last verse on 25.
אוי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Shkoach. Beautiful tune. You are welcome to be seated. If you'll turn to page 27, there you will find the beginning of the psalm for Shabbat, each day having a special psalm. And of course, this one celebrates the Sabbath with sense of joy and happiness. Page 27.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשו ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך רונן. מה גולו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Page 28, you'll find the word Sadiq Katamar by the little arrow as we conclude the psalm.
צדיק כתמר יפרח, כי ארץ בלבנון יזכה, שצולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינועו צורי ולא עוולתה בו.
29.
תחנמנו מאוד לביתך נא וקודש אדוני לאורך ימים.
On page 30, you'll find Kadisha Tom, our Mourner's Kaddish. Those reciting Mourner's Kaddish, if you will rise and join with me on page 30. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Bi'alma divrach yidute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olomei olmaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May be seated. So in Judaism, relationships in life are of the highest priority, as we are a religion of connection and of liveliness. In fact, Orit and I were just talking about that kind of connection, that kind of being able to connect as a community this morning, ironically. But there's many factors. There's these factors of religion being, for us, a mode of connection. In fact, religio, what does religio mean? It comes from the word, the Latin word ligament, right? Which means to connect. What does a ligament do in your body? You're a nurse, you know what a ligament does, right? It connects pieces of it connects the bones, and we're able to see it in the context of connection. However, these very factors tend to lead to a messy existence. What do I mean? Well, we know relationships continually change. Even the best of them, even the strongest ones. In fact, the strongest ones often change, and that's what makes them strong. Truly living life involves pain and growth and loss, and we know that relationships and vitality involve lots of work. Regardless of how strong or weak they are, they involve work. So the question is, how do you keep a relationship going? How do you keep it moving? How do you keep it strong? And in this week's Parashat Tzav, we study the various sacrifices which were at the core of Israel's living relationship with God. The word sacrifice in Hebrew is korban. That's the word, which comes from the root. I have some Israeli native speakers here, right? Comes from the root, the kuf, the resh, and the vet, right? Karov. What does karov mean? Close, to draw near or to draw close to. So the act of offering a korban was a means of drawing near to the presence of God, of establishing a relationship or a connection with God, to bringing again, karov, to bring to closely. So we might think the setting for this holy act, the tabernacle, and then later on the temple, would be a dignified, quiet place. But in fact, think about it. What was going on in the tabernacle and later on in the temple? What were we actually doing? What are korbanot? They are actually physical sacrifices. So we might imagine, it must have been a very noisy, I hate to say it, a smelly place, right? Filled with work, filled with animals, right? Filled with things going on. No matter how dignified the labor was, there was an element of discord somewhere in there. Imagine the animals, the people who had traveled there to bring their animals, right, for sacrifice, the merchants who gathered around the central site outside of the temple, hawking their wares. Hey, you're here to attempt to worship in the temple. What else can I sell you today as you come to town, right? It must have been a pretty wild and social scene, if you will. But life and connection are neither necessarily easy nor quiet. And the first challenge is to make the commitment to draw near even when the noise of life seems overwhelming. So no matter what else was going on in the tabernacle, there was a fire, an Eish Tamid. What does the word Tamid mean? Always, eternal, right? Eish Tamid, a fire, an always fire, an eternal fire. It was a fire that was to be constantly maintained on the altar day and night in order that an offering should be made perpetually to God. So this fire would be maintained, it would continue, in order for the idea that at any point we could make an offering to God, that fire was there as a sign of that connection to us. So 3 times in our text this week of the Torah, it states that this fire has to be maintained. And we recognize that this is the source of the custom of what? The Ner Tamid. That's really what the source of it is in essence, right? This eternal light that burns above every aron, every ark in a synagogue. We have ours beautifully on the wall above. And just as the sacrificial fire that formed the relationship to God was to be tended every moment, so too in every relationship, a great deal of effort had to be expended to maintain communication and connection. See the parallels. If we're drawing close and we're doing this Eish Tamid, this always fire, this fire that was eternally on, that was supposed to be maintained, we recognize that's how relationships then are, if that's the function of that altar. And while there were many different korbanot, there were many different classes or groups of sacrifices that were offered. You had the meal offering, you had the guilt offering. If you did something bad and you felt guilty about it, you brought a guilt offering. An offering of atonement. If you needed to make atonement for something, you brought an atonement offering. If you had the olah was a simple burnt offering, right? But that olah, that burnt offering was tamid, was a perpetual one that, again, had to be the last offering brought every day, brought each day, and it was to be left burning all night on the altar. The other ones were quick. This one was to be left burning and let it go. It wasn't consumed by anyone to eat it. The priests would eat other parts of the other kinds of offerings, but not the tamid, not the burnt offering. And in the Talmud, we find that it was thought that as long as the offering was made, the walls of Jerusalem could not be breached. It maintained our strength together. In fact, the rabbis of the Talmud instituted a fast each year on the day when Jerusalem's walls were breached and the Tamid sacrifice ceased to be offered. So it was a day of mourning because that relationship with God couldn't be maintained and couldn't be continued through the Tamid. Every day, the priest had the job of clearing away the ashes from all the other sacrifices that had been made that day. And once the area of the altar was clean, the priest would then set the tamid to burn all night. That's how it was done. It's pretty amazing. So what's the message for us? If we look at these korbanot as ways to connect with God, what do we do with them? We don't do these korbanot anymore. We don't have a burnt offering. We have a ner tamid, but we don't have an offering that's on all day. We don't have the various offerings that we make that we imagine would bring us closer to God. So what do we do? Well, I think the message for us is twofold. The attention we pay to relationships has to be constant, right? Just like the Kohanim, they had to be maintaining these sacrifices, the Tamid, all the time. It had to be connected every day it was being done. And in order to make our connections to others solid and growing and certainly long-lasting, we have to tend to it. Tamid, always, each and every day. Those of you who know you have strong relationships, it's not something you can just forget. You have to work at it. I always work with new couples, and they say, how do we get to be 63 years of marriage, right? You got to work at it. Anyone who's reached milestones like that understand it takes time, it takes energy. And also, just as the Kohanim would clear away the old ashes and the residue, what do we need to do? It's a wonderful instruction for us. We too have to clear away those ashes in any relationship we might have before the end of the day. You always say, don't go to bed angry, right? There's a reason, right? In other words, if there's an ash, if there's some anger or frustration or even praise that's not been said, it should be taken care of as regularly as possible so that the light of that relationship can be kept burning brightly and cleanly. We have to take the time to get rid of that stuff that can make our relationships not as strong, that can muddy the waters, if you will, and bring them away so that that tamid, that relationship, that offering can be bright and clean. It would be wonderful if there were a simple way to develop a good relationship, but we know that there isn't. The korban, the template of these sacrifices that we are studying in the book of Leviticus, we'll be continuing them through for a while. The template of these sacrifices shows that it does take work, just like the priests had to do. And it takes a lot of devotion, as the priests had to do as well. And it takes clearing away those ashes each day and tending to the fire for the next day and maintaining a constant watch in order to make our korbanot, our drawing near to others, our relationships, whether with God or with one another, alive and burning. So as you celebrate this Shabbat, and if you're here and you're looking at the parashah, as you look at these description of all of these korbanot, these sacrifices, again, which can be messy and not sound like there's something we can even understand, we can. Consider the ways you establish and or strengthen the relationships that you have in your life. How well are you tending to the fire of connection that you have with other people? In what ways are you drawing nearer to God in your everyday life? How do you do that? May the korbanot, those sacrifices of our ancient ancestors, serve as inspiration to enhance the connections that we have to one another today, and to help us to constantly work to draw ourselves nearer to both one another, those around us, and certainly, just as our ancestors did with their korbanot, draw that connection to God as well. Hope you'll keep that in mind as we celebrate this Shabbat and work to make our relationships stronger, both as human beings and with the divine. Shabbat Shalom. And one of the ways we strengthen our relationships is by davening together, by coming together as a minyan, by coming together as a community to welcome in our special moments in life, to celebrate those times that are ones of joy, and to mourn when needed, and to give support to those who need when the times are not of joy. And so page 39a, you'll find the beginning of our evening service, and our evening service always begins with Baruch Hu, which is in essence a call to worship. You see the words on the left side in the English on the top of the page, the call to worship together. When this was done in ancient times, the davener would stand up on a box in the middle of the city square and scream, Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach, and everyone would know that it's time for prayer together. They would hush, and they would join each other, and they would know that we are now enjoined in prayer together. So page 39a, we rise as we do what our ancestors did. Keep it in your mind of how we can use our prayer experience to bring ourselves and our relationships closer, again, to one another and to God. 39a, we rise.
Lai la la lai la lai la la lai. Lai la la lai 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 lai. Lai la la lai lai lai. Lai la la lai lai lai. Lai la la lai 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 lai. Lai la la lai lai lai. Lai la la lai lai lai. Lai la la lai 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 lai. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד, המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד.
You are welcome to be seated.
מביא יום מביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו על חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך אלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבי.
Amen. You'll find Ahavat Olam, which speaks of our love for God, God's love for us through the giving of the mitzvot, page 40.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נלויה יומם ולילה כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נלויה יומם ולילה כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נלויה יומם ולילה כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נלויה יומם ולילה יררי רי 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 יררי רי 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 ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובפי שעריך.
We read in the English together on 41 on the left side. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Page 44, if you'll turn to the bold print right in the middle of the page, you'll find the words, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like you, Adonai? These are the words we sang together as a community as we celebrated with timbrels in hand, and Miriam led us, and we joined together as we sing in triumph for our freedom and a reminder of how precious that freedom actually is. Page 44.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא נורא, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה לי ענו ויאמרו, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה לי ענו ויאמרו, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות אוסף אלה. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא 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 תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. ונאמר כי בדע אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו היה חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. Page 45, you'll find Hashkivenu, our prayer that asks for peace as we go to bed in the evening and wake up to a refreshed and new world, we would hope. We know that this prayer takes on special significance given the world that we are living in at the moment. We can use all the prayers for peace that we can, and I think that this prayer tonight in particular extends beyond just our own inner peace, but as a peace, again, bringing shalom to the world in a fractured society that we have in seeing what is going on in the Ukraine. So as we recite this in the English and then sing it in the Hebrew, keep in our thoughts, again, not only our own inner peace, but the peace that we hope to achieve in the world outside of ourselves. Page 45, we join together. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Amen. We sing together page 45 on the right.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והומידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והומידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והומידנו מלכנו לחיים. ישכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והולידנו מלכנו לחיים עמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
If you'll turn over to page 46, we rise as we join together in the singing of Vishamru, reminding us of our connection, that relationship we share with God through the observance of Shabbat. Page 46.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובבני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Chatzi Kaddish, the middle of 46.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי ויבליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ועל בעלמיה, יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה להילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירני עלמה ואמרו אמן.
You'll find the silent Amidah for this evening, pages 47 through 52. As always, feel free to use this time for your own personal thoughts and meditations to add to the words on the page. When you're through, you're welcome to be seated.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. 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 כי אתה הוא מלך אדום לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדום לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
You're welcome to be seated if you're standing. We'll turn back to page 173 towards the back of our Siddur. You'll find on the far left side of 173 on the page our prayer for healing, our Misha Berach, written by Debbie Friedman, reminds us of the connections, I guess, we have, again, one to another, that we pray for courage, we pray for strength, we pray to overcome the ills of our world, both personally, psychologically, spiritually, physically. Page 173.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Refuah Shlema. If you'll turn back in your Siddur to page 54, there you will find Kaddish Shalem as we conclude this section of our service. 54.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעלמה דברה קירותי, וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם ועל מעלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי קודשה כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ביעלמה והימרו. תתקבץ לא תהון ובת תהון דכל ישראל, קדם עבורהון דיבי שמיה והימרו. אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו. אמן. עושה שלום בברובם, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו.
On page 55, if you'll rise and join with us as we take a cup of grape juice in hand with a new Kiddush cup. I like it.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it's very pretty. As we take a cup in hand and we drink some sweetness, we bring sweetness into our lives for Shabbat. Page 55, we join together.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן.
Chaim.
לחיים.
We remain standing as we turn to page 56 as we join together in Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגב מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, קרקעתו ותורתו, וידעת היום והשבות ללבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל,
You may be seated. As we turn to page 58, that was a note. Wow. A couple of notes in there that were wow.
Try allergy written like you today.
No, it sounded awesome. Page 58, we'll take it down just a notch, actually, as we look to Kadishta Yatom, our mourner's Kaddish, and as it's been a very busy week in particular, and a difficult number of weeks as we've had a lot of losses in our community. So we extend our condolences to the family of Cookie Belinsky, who's wife of Louis Belinsky, and mother to Eileen Kramer on her death. And the funeral was on Monday, so they are continuing through the Shiva period. We also acknowledge the mother of Hildy Damasek, who is Barbara Damasek. We had the funeral on Tuesday for her, and again, those two families are moving through the Shiva period, and we continue to give them our hugs of support as they do that. We also mention the names of those who are continuing through the Shloshim period. We are ending our Shloshim for Mary Stewart, and we remember today as well Canary Kelman, who was wife of Aaron Kelman, and Helen Corky Maltz, who's sister of Butch Karen and Ruth Toback. And we remember Marvin Barenblatt as well, who is brother of Irving Barenblatt and father of Brad, and father-in-law to Sherry. So we keep all of those in mind as we acknowledge as well the Yortzites for this week, for today, and the week that is coming forward. We remember Benjamin Barrett, Mary Balin, Ann Belden, Robert Cobb, Annette Ruth Davis, Helena Dresner, Cecile Echt, Ben F. Friedman, Leslie Getzler, Rita Gershman, Hesse Glick, Ilona Hendel, Miriam Kalmans, Bessie Beer Kimmel, Norma Cutler, Jacob Mackler, Darren Mensch, Minnie Pullman, Sidney Shanefield, Jerry Simon, Machla Minya Snyder, Seema Steinberg, Edith Thorner, and Ann Topp. All those reciting Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. If you will turn to page 58 and rise and join with me. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah B'alma Divra Chirute V'amlich Malchute B'chayechon Uv'yomechon Uv'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Ubizman Kariv V'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Melomei Omaya Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha B'rechu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Da'amiran V'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. May be seated. Just a few quick announcements. We will be back here tomorrow morning at 9:15, as always, on Shabbat morning, as we celebrate Shabbat together as a community. We will have Torah talk after our service and light Kiddush lunch as well, so keep that in mind for tomorrow morning. As always, we also have our morning minyan every weekday at 7:30 and on Sundays at 9, so come help make a minyan. Some upcoming events very quickly. We have probably already hopefully signed up for it if you're interested in it. There's a chess tournament this Sunday at 12, from 12 to 6 here. This is part of Nathan Adelstein's Bar Mitzvah project, and he is helping out with a charity chess tournament that will benefit the synagogue as well. So open to players and spectators. You're welcome to be a part of that, so you can check that out. Also, get ready, go clean some of your closets. It's that time anyway, right? We're past Purim. We're now moving towards Passover, which means spring cleaning, both in our kitchens and our homes, and you can touch your closets while you're at it, and get ready for rummage. Who's ready for rummage? Well, we probably all need a little bit of cleaning out after the last couple of years. So from 10 to 12 on March 27, you can come and shop at a pop-up jewelry and handbag sale. You don't want to miss the second showing of name brand new jewelry. We did it a number of months ago, a year ago or so now. We'll be out in the Cavy doing that, and you can donate as well. Here's where the cleaning out part comes. You can donate gently, in big letters, gently used clothing and household goods at that point. So come buy some jewelry and handbags and drop off some clothes that can help the rummage sale for Sisterhood coming up as usual. I think in the fall, they're already getting ready for the big fall rummage sale. Also, a couple of other really important things coming up. I hope you'll join us for. We're going to have our Sephardic and Ladino weekend, Sephardic culture. One of the things when I got here, I said, you know what, we need to celebrate Sephardic culture here. We have so many people who have come from that background. And so we're going to have a special weekend, April 1st through the 3rd, as we learn about Sephardic culture and history and traditions and its influence on Judaism today. We in America are very focused on Ashkenazic people who come from Europe and Eastern Europe and Germany and the European section of our history, but we have a lot of those who come from Sephardic lands and backgrounds as well. And we're going to do a little celebrating of that and a little learning. The wonderful choir, Sheer Joy, is going to be participating Friday night and Shabbat morning, singing some beautiful Sephardic melodies to our liturgy and adding and enhancing our service. So hope you can join us for that April 1st through the 3rd. We'll even have a Sunday morning little program, and we'll do some learning and some celebrating and celebrating Shabbat as well together. Also, put on your calendar, our second night community Seder is back Saturday, April 15th at 6 p.m. You can enjoy the company of your family and friends at our interactive Seder. It is going to be designed for the whole family, low-key, not formal, fun, intergenerational, full meal, of course, but we'll have songs and Haggadah readings, spiritual insights. So you will see more information about costs and all that, but we wanted to let you know we are planning to have that April 15th at 6 p.m. Just keep that one in mind. And we've had this one for a while. There are still availability to apply for our Israel and summer camp scholarships and our Martin and Sarah Marcus endowed scholarship for high school seniors who wish to attend accredited university, college, or vocational school. So those are still availability to apply. So keep that in mind. With that, I want to thank Phil for being in the back, our usher, as always, extraordinaire, and he was holding the fort last week as well, and we thank Jeff Cohen for holding the fort for us in the absence of myself and of Arlene and of Orit. So we appreciate that. But we thank Anthony and we thank Michael for enhancing our music tonight. And Orit started out the day with me this morning at our preschool, our Heinz preschool Shabbat. Now we're ending the day or beginning our Shabbat formally together once again this afternoon, this evening. So thank you so much as always for enhancing our little one's Shabbat, and now for us here tonight welcoming in Shabbat formally. So we thank her for that. With that, we're going to. Are we going to do Yigdal?
Yes.
Awesome. A little Yigdal on page 62. And I believe that is one of the tunes that our choir is working on for a Sephardic Yigdal, which is going to be beautiful. So again, we will get a little practice tonight by doing Yigdal, page 62.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, ימצא ויהנה תל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אלו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמו שהוא נביא, ומביט את תבונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעם אוהל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יחל יפעל ולא מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומל איש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רש כרישתו, ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפדות מחי כקץ ישועתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך דהי השם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך דהי השם תהילתו. Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Yashikoah. Great evening. Yashikoah. I love your.
Oh, did you see this? It's not the art. I know, I saw that. I was tagging tourists. I love this because it stays cold all day. That's good. It's a very well insulated cup. Yeah.
I have one like that. And I'm still using it, and it's just, I'm just gonna, where's that?
I know. I just kept thinking, don't forget this tonight because this is an important. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
We're the community are doing that. They're not right now. The community is. Yes, yes, you can from the Federation. Yes, yes.
You go on their website. Yeah, also,
Not the JCC.
no, the Jewish Federation, but there's another, Jewish agency as well. Jewish agency is also accepted.
Yeah, when I did a call a few weeks ago. So yeah, just go to the Federation website to find it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We went to Orlando. No, it's actually very
Yeah, I've got some grandkids.
I'll get to experience that someday.
You know, what she said, just like a mother. She'd say, blue pants, black shoes, you can't do that. You have a summer shirt on, and it's October, you can't do that.
Oh, the bass player? Yeah. The bass player.
tomorrow morning. It works. You're just early. See you around. Close enough. Hey, I'll take one. Not quite as strong as needed, but yeah. I walked here.